What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brainwash to be Broke, the show where we expose all the lies, all the beliefs, all the scripts that we've been taught since our young age, since we were born, and what is truly possible. So this is why we are here today and talking about those type of topics with another amazing guest, which his name is Erik Sorenson. He is international public speaker, he is author, he is entrepreneur and marketer with over 2 decades of experience in advertising, business growth, and personal development. So I'm super pumped to have him here. Most of the people would start with really like traditional questions when it comes to, diving straight up into like your story and or like what your expertise in and so on. But I would love to start with a different perspective and in from different direction or like to the different direction, and that would be like, what is actually the real true or Erik Sorenson driving source when it comes to your to your all success? Like, is it something that you like faith, or is it something like freedom, money, legacy? What is it for you?
Well, I mean, the thing that drives the success are the beliefs I have about success. I truly don't believe that you really can't have the success that other people have until you install the beliefs that create success. And my version of success today is vastly different when I was, say, 20 something years old when I first started my first business. I didn't really know what success was. I truly only had two skills in business. That was it. One was I was a hustler, like I was hungry and ready to go. And the other one was that hunger. Like hunger and hustle is the thing that really got me exposed to business. The problem with that in the beginning is for me, it was more like linear growth where it took more time to get more momentum, which led to better results. And so I became slave to a company. But now it's very different because the beliefs I have is that the most precious asset that you and I have is time. It's not
Of
money,
course,
it is
right?
time. Before I was chasing money, now I'm chasing more time. And so I've been able to figure out how to exponentially grow my businesses by doing less, not more. Because I truly believe, like, if you think about it, I was always taught that, oh, you're supposed to just work hard and you're gonna be slave to your business, and that's what you're supposed to do. And the harder you work, the more your business will grow. Hard work doesn't always equal growth. It really doesn't. Like directed hard work does, but just empty activity is even running on a treadmill as fast as you possibly can actually won't get you anywhere. And so for
Yeah.
me, it was so much more now about like using tools and leverage that I didn't know about before, that as your business grows and expands, your freedom should actually expand, not contract. So the more you grow, the more freedom you have. That's how what I've been able to figure out in my businesses, but that help a lot of people. So that's a little bit of the journey from then to now, because it's vastly different, here 25 years later than it was when I started.
Yeah. So why have you been chasing money then? Like, what was the true like? What was the reason that you wanted you've been chasing money at that time?
Well, that time I was chasing money for one reason. When I started my first business, I was married. I think I had one or two children, and so it was like, okay, I need insurance. I need to put a roof over their heads. I need food. I
Got
need to
it.
be able to have vacations and be able to raise a family. And I think a lot of us, especially like we feel this need to provide. Like for me, that need to be a provider was just instilled in me, and it was something I was always chasing. So for me, that was the motivation at the beginning. But then it sort of shifted along the way when I realized, like, if you think about it, you have every need met that you really need. Like need, not want, need, right? I don't think I've ever missed a meal in my entire life. I have a car, I have a house, like, I have all the things that I truly need. I have money coming in the door. Then it became about like, what do I truly want? And I learned
Mm.
early on in my journey that the thing that lit me up more than anything else, like the real paycheck wasn't the paycheck. The real paycheck for me was to see a life improved. And maybe something I
Ooh.
said or some
Yeah.
strategy I implemented for the businesses that I work with that became a game changer for them, that all of a sudden they could not only have an extraordinary business, but they could have an extraordinary life. Then that became the paycheck. And when that happened, I shifted from being money driven to much more impact driven, because I believe if you're money driven, that's fine. You'll probably be able to acquire money. But if you're impact driven, I think you can have both. impacting
Ooh.
money.
Okay, and why is that?
Because if you think about it, like if you can create a product or a program that can change somebody's life and you're driven by the impact, they're going to feel that so much more than the person that just wants your money. Like, you've met them.
Hmm.
You've met so many people in your life that had some product to sell and you knew the only reason why they were selling is because it was going to help them. And because
Yeah.
maybe it would have helped your life, but you know when people are money driven and that's really what they want from you. But
Ooh.
imagine somebody saying, this person could potentially change my life, or this program or product or service that they offer could potentially change my life. Yeah, it's going to cost me some money, but the reason why it's costing money is because they're giving me the best of all of them. Like,
Yeah.
that's a vastly different thing. If you think about the feeling and what people
Yeah.
actually buy, the feeling's different because people don't buy products and services. You know what they buy? They buy feelings. Think about anything you've ever purchased that you love. Like, are you into cars? Are you into airplanes? Like, what's your thing, Adam?
My thing. B- um, like personal growth
Personal growth. Okay, personal growth. Why do you want to invest in personal growth?
because it helps me be a better person,
I mean,
achieve more.
do you really want to
Be
invest in
yeah.
personal growth so you can, work hard and try to figure it out and the struggle, or are you after some type of outcome?
So for sure outcome.
And think about
After
it.
some.
Is that outcome, like, let's say you wanted to buy a brand new house? Are you after
Yeah.
that house? Are you after the vacation? Are you after a high level of personal growth? Or are you after the feeling that you'll have once you get there?
After the feeling when yeah, I'm good there. Yeah, 100%.
You
You
remember in
know,
the morning,
it's
like at least
yeah.
in the United States, Christmas morning for like as a kid was the coolest thing ever. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, the greater feeling was the anticipation of Christmas morning because then you get there
Right.
and you get the ugly sweater that you didn't really want under the tree, but it was so exciting. Even then, you open it up, you're super disappointed. Uh, that we really are after feelings. So we buy the
Yeah.
car not because it's practical necessarily, because we feel it. So when you
Yeah.
realize that people buy their feelings, you realize that sales is simply one thing. It's a transference of emotion. So when you're going after money, the emotion that's transferred is I want something from you. The
Mm,
emotion when you're after impact is this person has something I need and they're going to give to me and I could potentially change my life. That's a very different feeling than this guy just wants to take my money.
oh yeah, 100%. I love it. Yeah, it's so true. Like people are really good at smelling those type of behaviors basically from
Yes.
others, right? Yeah, like you can feel a person that his attention is literally just to benefit him instead of like I believe that every sale, everything that you basically do with other person or like anybody is literally should benefit always both of you. Like both of you. Because that is powerful relationship. Like that's what I believe in. What do you think about that?
I think it's great if you can find a scenario that that's true. A lot of times the transaction is imbalanced. I prefer not to
Mm,
think of business as a transactional experience because the
right.
challenge with transactional, it's kind of a give and take, which is great. I prefer to approach things as how can I create a transformational experience in
Yeah.
this transaction? Because I truly believe that business is a calling. We are called to serve a people. And whether or not that's from
Hmm.
God or the universe, I'm not here to tell you what you should believe, but I can tell you this that when you make it about a transformation versus a transactional experience, it's a vastly different experience. And again, you get both. You get impact and you are able to build your income and your wealth versus just going after the money. You might just get money, but you may not be truly fulfilled. Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And I think that's
Huh.
because we leave off one thing, and that is the ability to impact someone's life or the ability to create a transformational experience instead of just a
Yeah.
transactional experience.
Okay.
And I've been into companies where it's completely transactional and it's just
Mhm.
robotic. And
Wow.
unfortunately, we're humans. We are emotional creatures. It is built into us.
Yeah.
The quality of our life is truly the quality of the emotions that we feel because emotions create decisions and decisions create actions. And the way we approach things is just as important, if not more important, than what we're actually approaching. And so
Yeah.
that's where this all comes in the fact that we are emotional creatures. And because of that, when we become transactional, it just becomes sort of this sort of give and take. You give to me, or
Yeah.
I take from you and we're done and goodbye and we'll never see you again.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't really feel great. Yeah, totally. I love it. Like when it, okay, how did you get into the conclusion that you're going to be focusing more on the transformation? Because there is lots of people that they probably don't even understand what like transformation means, because like there are lots of gurus talking about like, that um create a like type of some type of offer and sell the offer basically based on like put that like create a huge value on of the offer, like add some bonuses and so on, so it's like literally a huge value, but you basically create like this type of bait, in my opinion, that people take the offer and like they are happy with what the transaction, um how the transaction went through. So because there are also people who are talking about transformationals offer, and those offers are completely different than this type of like deliverable offer, like which is like the do you know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense, what I'm trying to express in here?
It absolutely does make
Okay.
sense. Yes.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
think I think here's really the difference.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have both probably purchased a lot of programs
Yeah.
that, yes, they may have delivered on what they promised, but it wasn't really that great. It didn't really affect our lives.
Yeah.
The value was
Exactly.
probably there, and that's okay. I mean, there are a lot of businesses out there that sell a product and they don't. It's just a transaction, and that's fine. I
Yep.
just think you can operate on such a higher level when you truly have a mission. Like my mission
Mm-hmm.
is simple. It is to wake up men and women to who they are and help them rise to their potential. That's my mission. And when I'm doing that, oh, it's so that's the paycheck. Like it is so fulfilling to me when I get that phone call or that email or that text saying, "Hey, this thing changed my life. You helped
Mm-hmm.
me with this or that." Like that is the paycheck. And fortunately for me, I learned that early on. I remember the very first time I started an ad agency, and thought it was super fun. Like I'm creating these
Yep.
really cool campaigns, and we're running traditional media and non-traditional media, and it's just really fun to create something. And the creative side for me, because I'm an artist, I love that side of things. But the thing I'll never forget, one of the probably my second or third year in business, I got that phone call. And yes, it was
Mm-hmm.
just a stupid ad campaign, whatever. But the phone call was something like, "Hey, our restaurant, we got 35% more customers because of this thing that you did." But she talked about how much it helped her family and how much it helped her employees. And she wanted to continue that momentum. And I'm like, wow, how amazing is that? And that was the first time I felt I actually helped a person. I actually helped them improve their lives in some small, tiny way. But even
Mm-hmm.
as small as that little thing was, for me was a big deal. And I was like all in. I was hooked. I was hooked on that feeling that you can actually do something to positively affect the lives of others. And, since that I've been through a lot of challenges and suffering like we all do in life. And if we can eliminate as much suffering in other people and help them have a little bit easier life, a little bit easier path to the thing that they actually want. Oh, that to me is like the ultimate success. It's great if you can get there, but you know what's even better? Getting everybody else there. They say it's lonely at the
Mm-hmm.
top. I promise you, if you're a business owner and it is lonely at the top, you are not doing it right. Where's everyone
Ooh.
else that's surrounding you? I'm surrounded by all my platinum partners, by
Right.
my clients. Like we have platinum partner mastermind groups in multiple industries. I just went to one of our events in our real estate program last week. I'm going to another one this weekend in Utah, and just to be around those people and to see how their lives have changed, and they're literally up there crying. Not only that their business double or triple or quadruple, but it's not that's the paycheck. It's what did it do to their life? Because as a business owner, like I hate to say it, I'm so much better of a dad and a husband and a friend when my business is rocking and rolling and when I'm doing things that matter and when I feel that. Like I'm in
Mm-hmm.
such a better mood versus I remember the years of just debt and paycheck to paycheck and how am I going to make payroll this week? Those years
Wow.
were super
Okay.
challenging. And now it's been a while since I've been in that situation, a lot of years. And just coming from a place of abundance versus a place of scarcity has literally changed everything for me. And now it's just all about, okay, I get to wake up every day and with my super evil plan and say, what life can I change today? It's so fun.
Yeah. Well, okay. So because I don't really remember when if we've been talking about it before or no. Like you mentioned that you came from um like pretty like poor environment, like I mean, like, when your childhood and so on. I don't know if you've been talking about it, how your actually like childhood look like when it comes to money, like the conditions that you lived in, and what you've learned from that period of time.
Well, I think like most people that I talk to, most of our beliefs, as if you look at the
Yeah,
neuroscience on it, were formed before we were 7 years of age. It always goes up
yeah,
to about 25, and then we pretty much have our beliefs solidified, and then we spend the rest of our lives literally trying to change them because we were all screwed up in some form or another, right? As
yeah,
well-meaning as parents are, they don't have a playbook. We don't have a playbook, and we are
right,
going to screw up our kids to some point.
yeah,
But around specifically money, it was something that we never talked about. We never talk
uh-huh,
about money. In our religious beliefs, there was this sort of unwritten rule that rich people are evil, or that money doesn't
yeah,
grow on trees,
okay,
or things like my responsibility when it comes to money is to have sufficient for my needs. And
uh-huh,
sufficient for my needs to me meant, okay, if I made $1 million in a year, as long as I had $1 left over at the end of the year, I had enough for my needs. My needs were covered. I don't have any money, I have $1, but my needs are covered. And I thought that was our responsibility. And so, because of that, it definitely affected me going into the business world because I can't tell you how many years I lived from paycheck to paycheck, payroll to payroll, always having enough. Sometimes it was scary, but I always had enough for my needs.
mm,
Until several years later, I started realizing it didn't matter. I built a business up and we had $1 million in a month, my first big business. And I'm like, wow, that's $1 million in a month in revenue. That's unbelievable. That's amazing.
right,
And
right,
it's like, didn't matter how much I made. I still brought the same amount home every single month. The same as when I was making $200,000 a month in revenue.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, why is this happening? And so I was able to actually hire a neuroscientist a few years ago in Dallas, Texas. She's amazing. She spoke at several of my conferences before, and I spent all day with her to dive in the deep seated beliefs that I had, not just around money,
yeah.
but around things that were really holding me back. And when we
Was it
drove into
recently,
it,
or
that was
was
just
it the
several years ago.
back then? Okay,
Several years ago. Yeah.
okay.
But I mean, we're talking probably a good 10 plus years, maybe 15 years into my career. So this wasn't at the beginning.
Okay.
This was in the middle of my
So
career.
okay, so how the beginning actually started for you? Like literally, like with this success that you have, and you launching like recently like three companies with AI and so on, which you're gonna get into also. Like, how did you get into like entrepreneurship and like start fixing the mindset, like, and like everything what you've been taught since you were basically since you were born? Because like this is the biggest, like with the schooling system and with the environment and everything. Like for me, it was like when I moved to different country, right? I completely like that was the rock button that I hit when it's I couldn't speak English. Literally, I had to learn everything on my own because like I saw, even though like I've been really good at school, like I've been not like like the one of the best, but still I've been able to go through it. And then when I saw that everything what I've been studying until this point, anyway, I'm gonna end up the same way as my parents, like working three jobs to just get by and so on. Like the conditions was super bad. And then like when I moved to England, because like I want just to escape from the environment, um, I realized that it doesn't matter where you work. It's still pretty much everywhere is the same. It's about you and how you want to change your life and like the generations and so on for start with you. And that was like the biggest shift for me when I started like diving into like personal development and figuring out my like problems that I've been dealing with. Like even I didn't really understand what actually mindset is and so on. So I would be interested like to hear from you how like the where that rock bottom hit, and like what continued from there.
Well, it all started. I mean, I told you earlier on that I had two skill sets. One was hustle, one was hunger.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And again, being a hustler is great. It's a great skill and talent to have in the beginning of a business. It will
Hmm.
hurt you later on because if you keep doing that, you're eventually going to burn out. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did because that's all I knew. So for about the first 15 years, that's all I did. And I had these beliefs that I told you about money running through my mind that I had no idea. Clearly, they were subconscious beliefs that were installed in me,
Right.
opinions of other people
Yep.
that weren't my beliefs, somebody else's beliefs that I adapted because of that. You mentioned my environment. And
Yeah.
so because of that, I had these and I was carrying them with me. And early on in my career, I just kept going from paycheck to paycheck and struggling. And
Yep.
the thing that was the pivotal moment that changed for me is when it finally caught up with me.
Mm-hmm.
Hustling, struggling. And then things started getting worse. My business, it was still doing well, but I still wasn't, I was making a ton of revenue, but not a lot of profit. Things started getting challenging at home. I started missing all the kids' cheer and
Yep.
soccer
Yep. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
dance and all of these things. And all of a sudden, I was just so focused on business that I was literally losing the most important aspects of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that drove me to finally say, invest in myself, I didn't even know what mindset was. Honestly, I hated the term mindset. I didn't believe in learning. I thought I learned everything I needed to learn in college, and
Mm-hmm.
all I need to do is just go hustle. That was it. And it wasn't that I wasn't humble enough to learn, but I think my only strategy was just one word: go. That's it. All the time. Go.
All right.
And
Okay,
that's
I
what I
get
did.
it.
And then finally, the thing that drove me to look in the mirror and say, I have to change this. I don't know how to do this. I got to get
Mm-hmm.
help was pain. The
Mm-hmm.
pain got so intense. I went through a divorce, all kinds of things. I ended up like selling my business. In a sense, it's more complicated than this, but basically on a whim that I probably should have never done before had I been in a good state of mind. But all the pressure was on me, and here I was. Business was gone, family was broken apart.
Wow.
Everything that I had built essentially in my mind was crumbling away. And I remember sitting there on a dark night, and there happened to be a storm outside, and I was trying to think, after 15 years, how in the world did I get to this place?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the pivotal moment where I read a quote that changed the entire course of my life. And if you know who I am, you've heard this quote before because I say it all the time, and that's this: that the scariest day of your life is the day you die, when the person
Yeah.
you are meets the person you could have become.
Yeah.
That was the pivotal moment. And then from there, we can talk about, if you want to, what I did after that. But that was the bottom. That was that
Yeah.
rallying cry of my soul saying, you're nowhere near your potential. And here you are thinking of yourself. Yes, you've made some mistakes, but guess what? You're not old. Like at
Yeah.
that stage in my life, I had a lot of
Yeah.
life ahead of me. And so
So
I did something I'd never done before.
yeah. So the question is why you decided to go for business? Like why you know you didn't just because you said what have you been studying before jumping into business? What have you been doing before? Like if I may ask.
I was a communications major, so I was actually studying
So
marketing
you've been in
communications.
study
Yeah,
communications. So there
yeah.
is something into it also. Okay, that's interesting. Because you've been also saying that you are not actor. What is it? Have you been like, are you drawing or so something like that? Or because you've been mentioning, so, are you
No,
like
I was just saying it was the artist in me.
or
I'm
artisans?
not an
Okay,
artist.
okay,
I
okay,
can't
okay.
draw
Oh, yeah, I
anything.
mean
I'm
like
terrible.
artist. I
I'm more of a
haven't heard that yet.
creative person. I
Okay,
love,
okay, okay. I got you.
creative
I got you.
visuals, and in my mind, I feel like I'm an artist, not
Yeah,
so much anything else. So I
but
love the artist.
this is really interesting point because like look at how many people are there and like because we as a humans we are created as a creators, right? Like
Yes,
we are this way, but people are shaped into those boxes, literally like live the life based on those conditions that somebody like literally gave it to you, and
yes,
they completely forget or completely overlook that why we are here even in this place. Like we are creators, we are people who we are a species that creates things. Because like if you think if you stop for a moment and just look around yourself, like pretty much everything what you have around yourself, not pretty much, like actually everything is made by people, by entrepreneurs,
yes.
which is insane. Like if you think about it, because most people they don't even stop to think about those type of things,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? So this is interesting. Like, so you were already in, like, you've been studying at some point speaking, like communication and so on. But there was something that probably happened that you decided to go with entrepreneurship, doing still the same thing. But have you been employed, like doing like communicate, like have you been like selling or something like that with communication, or what have you been doing actually, if I may
Yes,
ask?
actually. So when I was in college, I needed a job, and I happened to get a job at the local newspaper. This is 20 years ago, 25 years
Ah,
ago. So it
interesting.
was that thing that brought me into the marketing communication world, which kind of gave me the bug a little bit of, wow,
Yeah.
this is actually really kind of cool. And so early on, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Now I no longer do that, by the way, but I did then, and it just was an entry point to a world that led me into starting my first ad agency several years later.
Right. So you started with ad agency. Why was ad agency? Why did you decide for ad agency? Because like there are different like you are now basically a lot in like coaching mindset and so on,
Yes.
right? You are basically, I know you as this type of person. I wouldn't
Yes.
even know that you are having like businesses that literally like with AI and like agencies like advertisement and so on. I know you based on like speaker, like that you speaking, and also like minds about mindset and so on. So that's really interesting actually
In
too.
fact, I've had an ad agency all the way until 2 years ago. I sold my third one, I think it was third ad agency 2 years ago to private equity. So basically my entire career up until about 4 years ago was that world.
Interesting. Okay.
Excuse me.
Why was it? Was it because of AI, or did you
No,
just been
not at
done
all. I
with
mean,
the
it was
model?
because of the fact that early on,
Uh,
excuse me, early on when I was in that career of the ad agency world, I moved to an ad agency for one reason. In newspaper, and I was in broadcasting for a little bit. I could only positively affect a business this much, right? Versus an ad agency, you're responsible for 360 degrees of their campaign, from marketing to public
yeah.
relations to lead gen to demand gen, you name it. Like you're in charge of the growth essentially through
Yeah.
marketing
Yeah.
of that organization, and sometimes the inside game as well. So for
Mhm.
me, it was like this complete feeling of literally I could positively affect a business from almost every angle. That's why I leaped off from being in media to owning an ad agency, and that was, oh my goodness, 2002. So that was 24 years ago that I did that. And then I built that up and I sold it in 2009. Then I built another one up and I sold that one in 2016. I built another one up and I sold it 2 years ago. And I have not got back in marketing and advertising since then, other than, we do talk about it in some of our coaching programs, but we don't execute it anymore. So that's why, and that was that world. But it wasn't until about 2000 or so that I moved into the world of coaching, and there's a very specific reason why that happened. But it was not.
Go ahead. I
I
would
never
love to.
wanted
I
to
would
be
love
a
to hear
coach.
it.
I never wanted to be an author. I never wanted to be a
Okay,
speaker
that's really interesting.
necessarily.
Okay, so
Like
tell me
this
about
was
that.
not
Yeah.
something that I had ever planned to do. My plan out of college was start an ad agency, and that was my entire life after that. Didn't
So
happen.
why? Yeah, tell me about okay, why did you pivot to something different? Like why is that? Have you been like already like sick and tired of doing agencies models and so on, or why was it?
It wasn't because I was sick and tired of the agency model. I actually loved it. Now looking back, being outside of the agency, I realize what a grind it is, because every day is different, and
Mm,
constantly clients are like, "I need this, I need that." But what happened is it was just after that day, I read you that quote that was everything was falling apart around me, and I
yeah.
realized that I wasn't the person I could become. And so I did something I hadn't done since college. I literally picked up one book. I still remember the book, and I read it, and I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. Then I read another one and another one, and then all these names kept being referenced in all these books. Like I kept hearing the name Tony Robbins. Like, okay. So in 1 year, I went to, I think, almost every Tony Robbins event, from UPW to Date with Destiny to Life Mastery to Business Mastery 1 and 2. Like I would go full on in and did all of the Tony Robbins stuff. I had a chance to meet him. I had a chance to speak with him at an event last year, in fact. Like and I started diving into the greatest minds in personal and professional development because I was in so much pain. I was literally grasping at straws to get out of it, and I didn't know how to do it. Not to
Wow.
mention, I was so tired of being burnt out in the hustle. I had no other way but to invest my time in that. Alex Ramosi said something that like really stuck with me, not at that time, but I heard this much later, a year or two ago. And he's like, okay, you can spend 10 or 15 years and figure it out yourself, or you can buy somebody else's time and figure it out in a year.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so I didn't know I was doing that, but literally I was buying other people's time. And I have never stopped since then. I've never stopped reading. I've never stopped investing my time. For many years, I spent about $100,000 a year in personal
Yeah.
and professional development, hiring coaches. I have two coaches right now. Like I will never stop doing that because I learned how to grow and scale a business by doing less, not more, how to create more transformation. So to answer your question, it was about 2017, 2018 as I started learning all of these things. And when you learn something, you almost kind of like something that changes your life and creates a
Uh-huh.
transformation in your own life. You almost
Yeah.
want to tell the entire world about it.
I,
And it was
I
at
I
that
feel it
time.
from you even now, literally, because you are so passionate about it. I love it. You are amazing in what you do, and that's like I'm so pumped to have you here because like the way that you speak and I never heard somebody talk about mindset and so on like that clearly as you, and like I feel it from you that you truly wants to help people. Like it's really powerful and really interesting. So I'm literally like enjoying it so much. Yeah,
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
totally.
That's what led me to that point is I didn't pick up a camera for 20 years. And all of a sudden I'm learning all of these things. And it was interesting because I still had my ad agency. And I would constantly get these questions from our clients. Hey, I'm struggling with this, and that. And I identified 7 patterns that I kept hearing over and over again.
Right.
And I knew I could solve 2 or 3 of them through my agency, through marketing and advertising, which is essentially how do I get more business through the front door. But there were all these other things like productivity. How do I solve the problem of time? How do I create SOPs for my organization? How do I
Uh-huh.
scale this thing? How do I like get back my time so I'm not like slave to this business? And I had this moment that all this was going through my mind. I happened to be at a conference. I wasn't speaking at this conference. I was attending a conference in Orlando, 2020, 2021, right around there. So not long ago. And I had this idea in a hotel room to create this program called Platinum Partners, which is essentially the program I've now been running for almost 5 years now. And I was speaking at a conference in Miami 2 weeks from then, and I'm like, I'm gonna build this thing in 2 weeks, and I'm gonna launch it. And I had no idea. I'd never sold from stage before. If I'm on a stage, I'm usually teaching and I'm supporting the organizer, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of organizations won't allow you to sell from stage either. But I'm like, I was so passionate about it. I'm like, if I don't have the answer, I could find people that have the answer and I can bring them on as contributors, which is exactly what I did. And so I went on the stage 2 weeks later after creating this, like, it was literally like in a sense of vision. Like I literally, like the name came to me and it was a spiritual moment for 2 hours and I'm writing as fast as I could. I called my team. I'm like, we're starting Platinum Partners. They told me later they thought I was crazy. They're like, this is never going to work. I found that out 6 months later. I'm glad they didn't tell me then because
How
I
the
was
name
so
came up
passionate.
too? Yeah,
What's that?
how the name came up too? Like why Platinum Partners?
I don't know how the name came. It just came to my mind and I'm like, ooh, I
Okay,
love that. And I wrote it
interesting.
down.
Okay.
Um, 2 weeks later, I get on stage and I start telling them the entire talk was the 7 deadly pitfalls of business owners, something to that effect, which
Right.
I knew would connect because I'd heard them over and
Yeah.
over. I knew everybody was struggling with. So you want a
Yeah.
great way to like market something, talk about the pain your clients are experiencing and a way to solve it. That's all I did. So I launched this thing and I spoke on stage. I didn't know if anybody would sign up. I had no idea if it would completely fail, but at that event, I did over $535,000 in revenue in 1 hour.
Wow.
Now, I had done $500,000 in a month many times. I had never done $500,000 in an hour, in a
That's
day before.
great. Oh my gosh.
And since then, I've done $1 million in a day before, which is crazy if you think about it. And now we're talking revenue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I walked away. I could not believe it. Now that
Mhm.
program's 5 years old. We have platinum partners in healthcare. We have platinum partners in dental. We have platinum partners in real estate. We have platinum partners in entrepreneurship.
Ooh.
And they're essentially the entire strategy is build the business owner that builds the business. That's when I
Right.
started speaking. All of a sudden, I was speaking at a conference in Atlanta with Les Brown, and a guy from TED came up to me. He's like, I'm on the TED board. Have you ever done a TED talk? I'm like, well, no. Would you like to do one? I'm like, yeah. So I got a TED talk. And then I don't know, a year later, I get another call from a TED person. Hey, would you like to speak at a TED talk? I'm like, have you done one? I'm like, yeah. Would you like to do one? Absolutely. So I got a second TED talk. This was like, I don't know, 8 months ago or something. And all of these speaking opportunities started coming up just because I just felt this calling to start talking about these things.
Right.
And of course, there was a lot of learning on how to do it. And I still do that to this day. But all of a sudden, it just changed everything. And of course, my book, Commit First, right here, like this obviously opened up some things as
Going
well
first.
and
Okay.
changed the game. And so all these things started happening just because of this one idea in a hotel room. And I spoke on stage 2 weeks later, and it's launched me into this new life.
Love it. Love it. Wow. What prompts you to write the book, actually?
The thing that prompted me to write the book, there were a couple of things. One, I kept hearing over and over because at this point I had done so many programs, and I had
Yeah.
probably spent $300,000 or $400,000 in personal and professional development at that point. And I kept hearing these words like they would usually give some strategy or tool or a tactic, and they would always
Yeah.
say, by the way, none of this will work if you're not committed.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, why is commitment always the afterthought? Isn't commitment like the main thing? Then I realized that a lot of like, if you want confidence, make and keep commitments to yourself. So commitment is tied to confidence. Commitment is also tied to that principle we hear about burning the boats all the time, right? If you're going to take the island, burn the boats, and you have no
Yeah.
choice to commit to the outcome.
This is
And then
so true.
yeah,
Oh my
and I
gosh. Yeah.
realized that the reason why we break our commitments is number one, we create a path that makes it harder to keep the commitment and easier to break it. But what if you could actually create a path to make it easier to keep the commitment, harder to break it? And the other reason why we don't keep our commitments is because we overcommit way too much because we want to be kind and nice and we want to say yes to everyone. When the problem with saying yes to everyone is you're literally saying no to your future self, your future dreams. Every time you
Yeah.
do that,
Yeah.
there is with every yes, there was always a no to something. With every no, there's always a yes to something. So when you're saying no to other people's priorities all the time, now you're saying yes to the kids' soccer, the
Yeah.
dance, raising your family, important priorities, your business, yourself, your future, your dreams. The greatest, like, especially early on, I teach people to say yes all of the time when they're early on in their business and they're 1 or 2 years in, but very quickly, as soon as you can start saying no, you can afford to say no, start saying no to almost everything. Now, I'm probably 95% no's to 5%.
Ooh.
And my life
Interesting.
is so much easier. Now I'm no
Yeah.
longer putting other people's priorities on me. I'm saying no to all of those and only saying yes to the things I know will get me to the outcome that I know I want to have in 5 years or 10 years from now. I'm anchored on a North Star, which creates a filter of what to say yes to and what to say no to.
Yeah. Oh, it's. Do you know what is interesting? Like people are trained to be polite and so on, right? They like trying to always be the yes mans and like agree on stuff. It's really like contradict based on like based on the human natural behavior to say no to people that you probably like if even though it's totally stranger and it's ask something, it's usually like people, even though like they feel that type of resistance to actually saying no. Have you ever experienced that, or what
Oh,
is your
yes.
thoughts on that? Actually, yeah,
Many
okay.
times. Well, my thoughts are very different then than I was now because I was the nice guy. I was the person that was saying yes to
Yeah,
everyone. In fact, I'm going to say this publicly, and I've said it publicly in a couple of speeches, and I'm super embarrassed to say it, but my voicemail literally said in the beginning of my career, said, "Hi, my name is Erik Sorenson. If you're a client, whatever the question is, the answer is yes." Which, in a lot of ways, in the beginning, that really helped me because we would say yes to
yeah,
everything because we needed the money and we needed to like grow the
yeah,
thing. Um, but that is the worst strategy you could ever have if you actually want to be free and if you actually want to run a business that doesn't run you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's what most people end up actually doing. In my what I can see right now, even these days, like I don't know how much it's changed since you started the business, but even like these
Sure.
days, most of the people are literally. building a better paying job than literally being a business owner and creating a business. So it's really interesting. And
Well, if you
yeah,
think about it, most people go into business because they want to have three things: more time, more money, more
yeah,
freedom, right?
yeah,
And if you think about it,
and
that's
end
like
up
saying, "Hey,
other
honey, let's have one
yeah.
more child so I can have more time, money, and freedom." And
It,
the funny thing is, we're trained to believe that's what it takes. And in the beginning, it does. But like I mentioned earlier on in the podcast, if your freedom isn't expanding as your business expands, I promise you, you're doing it wrong.
mhm,
We'll get into AI a little bit, but
yeah,
for example, I'm saying yes to everything in AI right now because I believe there's a wave right now, and I believe it's the biggest disruption in our entire lives. Far more disruptive than COVID, far more disruptive than other things that have happened in the past, like the dot-com era.
why do you
Far
think
more
why do you
opportunistic because it's moving so fast. I think we have 1 to 2 years, maybe max, based on what I'm seeing, where everything's going to change. Now, that could be a positive change. It could be a
mhm,
negative change. No one knows. But we right now, it's almost too late right now.
yeah,
You need to get on that bandwagon. Again, we'll dive into this a little bit if we have time. But
yeah,
so right now, I'm building AI companies as fast as I possibly can because I know there's an opportunity. And by the way, I've never been able to say this in my entire life. Before I started this AI venture, I built 7 companies and I've exited 3 of them.
yeah,
The other ones just sort of went by the wayside for one reason or another, or acquisitions, whatever. But
mhm,
it has never been easier to build a business ever. And in fact, it's not just easy, it is exponentially easier. I know what it takes to build a business the traditional way. And literally, I mean, I launched an academy called Audibly Academy where you can learn how to build a business and launch it in 3 days for less than $100. Not talking some chintzy business, a legitimate business that would probably taken you $100,000 or more in investment capital and a team of 10 to build and launch. You can do it in 3 days. It's insane. And I'm waking up every day feel that it just feels like cheating. It feels like
mhm.
it shouldn't be. It feels like I'm cheating, and it's sometimes I'll wake up and I'm just speechless because what one person can actually do. It is wild.
By skill set, like like that the skill sets that AI is giving, like it's giving you available, or is it like the speed also, or like what do you
It's
what is the
the
biggest
speed, it's the
speed?
skill set, it's the barrier to entry is pretty much gone. And
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, AI is the great equalizer. You don't
Hmm.
really need the skills. You can
Mm-hmm.
get the skills from AI. You don't need the knowledge. You can get the skills
Yeah.
from AI. It does help that I have 25 years of business. That certainly does help because I've got a
Yeah.
history of that. But the thing that's crazy is a 20-year-old can compete with me in terms of skill set and knowledge base because the knowledge base is basically infinite now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's people are like, well, don't you think you're going to become dumb because of AI? I'm like, no, calculators didn't make anybody more dumb. Calculators are so much easier to use instead of doing math yourself. It saves you a massive amount of time.
Yeah.
But what you need to become is a director. You need to be able to be a visionary to know how to direct certain things. And just the stuff I've created by myself because I wanted to versus my team, it is shocking. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't believe it.
What
Just
you
by
been
talking.
testing it for? I'm just curious. What you been testing it for, or like what you been building? Like those businesses that you've exited right now. Did you said two of them? And yeah,
3 of
okay.
them.
So
3.
what was it? What was okay? So what was the idea behind it? Like how did you use AI inside of it, or like any of those? Like I would be really interesting to see to
Well,
hear.
how I used AIs in those, because remember, my last exit was 2 years ago. AI
Yep.
has completely changed in the last 2 years. In fact, it's
Yeah.
completely changed in the last 2 months, if not
Yeah.
month. Like the game
100%.
keeps changing over and over, and it's almost like we're accelerating 10 or 20 years worth of time each month. Like it's
Yeah.
going that fast. Pretty soon it's going to be each week. Pretty soon it's going to be each day. And so now it's like, how do I stay up with it? But in those businesses, AI was things like automation. AI were things like using integrations or certain tools to execute what we needed to. Now, um, I rarely touch my keyboard anymore,
Ooh,
if ever.
interesting.
All I do is talk to this microphone now all day long. And I talk to my computer and I have our AI agents do whatever I need it to do. It's insane. In fact, I use this cool program to talk to my computer because Apple doesn't have the greatest, in my opinion, way to speak to your computer.
Yeah.
And I can type at 45, 46 words a minute. I can talk at 178. I know because I get the data. And
Yeah.
which, as much as productivity as I've been getting out of AI, myself personally, that's like saves me 16 to 20 hours a month, which is a lot
Right.
that I
Yeah.
would normally be typing. So, I can pretty much do everything. I would say 98% of what I do, I don't have to touch my
You are
keyboard.
not you are not the first one who says something like that when it comes to like this, communicating based on like literally you're probably dictating to the AI, and then
Everything.
because like I don't think that the conversation is still as good as it could be, because like when you basically have the AI that is literally like having the chat back and forth with you, it's more like that you dictate what you want to do and then is like doing it,
Well, agentic
right?
AI is a little bit different. Like when I say
Okay.
AI, I'm not talking LLMs. I'm not talking ChatGPT, Claude. I mean, yes,
Okay.
they have they have a role in all of this, but they're the lowest forms of
Yeah.
AI. Like when
Okay.
you start really diving into AI and you get into things like agentic AI and models, and
Right.
you realize you can really talk more about outcomes
Yeah.
versus like process or versus
Hmm.
questions. Most people use AI as like a Google search, which is
Yeah.
great. It's the best Google search in the world and it does some
Yeah.
amazing things, but that's not traditionally how I use it. But I use a software called Whisperflow.
Ooh.
It's
Okay.
unbelievable because it corrects my grammar in real time. And so
Whisper
if I'm writing
flow.
an email, I just talk like I normally do. It will correct it, polish it as I go. It almost never makes a mistake versus like when I'm using something like Siri, sometimes it's challenging to do voice text.
Interesting.
And how many texts have you sent that you voice
Okay.
texted and you had to resend because something got wrong? That almost never happens on Whisperflow. And so now I can speak at my normal fast pace to
Yeah.
my computer, and you should just give it commands, and it's like bam, 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 and things just start getting built like crazy. I have a guy that all he does is find the next big thing in AI. He's constantly building agents. We have computers that are just running these models, and they're just building as fast as they can. I was on a call with him today, and I'm like, oh, here's what I need. I have a conference on Friday. I'm speaking at. I need this thing built by then. And he looks at me. He's like, oh, I already did it. I did it yesterday. And it's not like a small thing. It's something that if you hired a programmer 2 or 3 years ago would have taken them a year, and you did it in a
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yeah.
That's why when I say what you can do with AI right now, especially as a business owner, will blow your freaking mind. And you'll literally say, this should not be possible. And this is why it scares the crap out of me. Because you hear people, CEOs, that are saying things like half of white collar jobs will be gone within 1 to 3 years. I
Yeah.
think it's actually going to be worse than that. Because if
Phew.
I can do what I'm doing right now, I mean, I can do with a team of two what could be done with a team of 100. Did you hear about that one company that just went that not just went live, but they did 1.8 billion dollars in revenue over the past year, and it was one guy and his brother.
Oh heaven.
It's shocking. Now, there's another side of that story that I can't really talk about because I haven't verified the information. That there's
Uh-huh.
some sketchy things potentially going on with that, which is why I don't want to say the name of the company. But
Yeah.
look it up. New York Times did a story on them a few weeks ago about how incredible this was with essentially two people,
Okay. I will look
and
at
they
it.
had
Yep.
hundreds of agents,
Yeah.
AI
Yep.
agents. So if you can do
Interesting.
that with two people, why would you need people when it can be so much more reliable and better? Now, I get it. There are certain things that you can't do with AI as good with humans. For example, when we were talking in the beginning of the conversation before we went live, we were talking about coaches and are they going to be
Yeah.
replaced? Like you
Yeah.
can't replace somebody looking into somebody else's eye, having a conversation and feel their emotion. Most of what
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
coach on isn't what they say, it's what I
Hmm.
know they're feeling, and I can see through what they're saying into the real problem, and I coach them on the real problem, not what they said. Like you can't do that with an LLM unless if
100%.
you
Yep.
give them
Yep.
brain dump your entire thing and you have it interview you and ask questions. But even then, you can't do it with the emotion that another human can be.
Yeah.
However,
Yep.
when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to skills, when it comes to programming, code, anything else, it's lifetime more like lifetimes better than what we can do as humans. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yep. I agree on that. Yeah, totally. Because it's really, yeah, like I don't know if people would even trust AI on that level when it comes to opening up, um
Well,
and share
let me
things
challenge you
like
on that a little bit.
I don't know. Huh?
I've heard it said many times that the most honest place on earth is a Google search
Is
because
it?
nobody's watching.
Ooh,
So you can be
okay, yeah,
honest
that
about
makes
Google search.
that's
Here's
true
something that's really
actually. Yeah.
interesting. There
Ooh.
was a CEO that has he has a fractional CFO company,
Yeah.
and they decided to AIify it, right? They try to bring AI into all of their business, and so they would have this onboarding process where it's like, okay, show me your personal financials. What do you have in the bank, like, and then tell us about your financial situation. And a lot of times they would get apologies, like I wish I was here. I wish I didn't make the stupid mistake, and they would leave out information intentionally. They
Uh-huh.
launched AI. This was not an intended consequence, by the way. This is something they
Yeah.
just accidentally discovered. They
Uh-huh.
realized when they moved all the onboarding and all the questions and all the interviews to AI and having them talk to an AI agent versus a human, they found out that they stopped lying about where they actually
Ooh,
were and they were completely honest. So they found out that the
very
honesty level,
interesting.
which made them allowed them to help their clients more because now they have the real picture of where they are financially, not the version of if you're with a human, you're always thinking this is going to judge me.
Oh yeah, that's
LLM,
so. Ooh,
voice agents, AI will never judge you because
yeah.
they don't have that human judgment on them. All they're trying to
Mhm.
do is get to the outcome you want them to have happen. So you can literally tell them their life. So I think the opposite is going to happen. I think you're going to be super honest with your AI agents, and I am. I have one in my car. It's amazing. Like I can like pull up my I can pull up my in my car, I can push a button on my steering wheel and it comes up and it's like, "Hey Eric, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?" "Oh, I'm good." "Hey, you know what? I want to go to this place over here. Can you put the address in my navigation and can you drive me there? Oh, by the way, can you find like a really good donut shop on the way so I don't really have to veer far off?" "Yeah, absolutely. Here's what I recommend. It has five stars. I'm going to take you there first and then I'll take you here." Perfect. Puts it into the thing and I push a button and it drives me there. I don't have to touch the steering
That's
wheel. I don't have to do
that's
anything. I
really
work.
cool.
I can do whatever I need to do. So like and it's connected to my AI here on my computer. So now when I have conversations in the car with this AI agent, all of a sudden now it's here on my computer as well. So I can reference it back and it adds it to the knowledge base. So when I'm working on a specific project, it saves it in just having an hour-long conversation as my car drives me to my destination. It's insane.
So
Elon
so
Musk talked
okay,
about
so,
it. He talked about like with a Tesla now, you're going to be able to drive it to work, get your AI agents doing work for you, like imagine like an AI assistant to take care of everything it needs to take care of, or you just send it off to pick up people as a taxi if you wanted to and have it make money while you're there. Like this is the stuff that is not coming, it is here right now.
yeah. You're right. This is insane. Like when it okay. So for those who for example like they are not really into AI yet and like they don't know if to trust it or what is going on like and or somebody who is like starting diving into a little bit of AI like can you like what is actually possible with those agents right now like what you can see from your perspective like what you using and so on.
Well, pretty much anything right now is available, with the exception like the last man standing is going to be the service industries because think about plumbers or electricians. Now,
Yeah.
Optimus robot or other robots will probably be able to replace those, but it's going to be several years. I think that's going, and healthcare is probably fairly safe for one reason. There will be regulations that probably prohibit robots to, for example, do surgery, even though they
Yeah.
probably can do it better because think of the precision of a robot versus a human who might shake a little.
Yeah.
So those, I think some of them are a little bit safe right now. I think pretty much most white collar jobs are not. And you've already seen this. You saw Jack Dorsey's company who laid off something like 40% of their team just a little while ago. I've heard people that are talking about like, you don't need salespeople. I have a company called audiblyagent.com, and Audibly Agent is voice agents, and they do inbound calls, outbound calls, and you can't tell that they're AI. It's insane. So
Wow.
think about it in a business. You don't need customer service agents. You don't need outbound calls. You don't need a salesperson. You already have that. Inbound calls are taken care of. Text as well. Anything with voice. Think about the process behind that. Like my onboarding process for some of my companies, my AI companies, is you talk to an AI agent on your computer and they onboard you and it's a conversation. You don't have to type a bunch of information and forms. You just talk to it, which is so much easier. And you're onboarded in 10 minutes versus like 2 hours.
That's
And then it
interesting.
takes all that information and it just pushes it to wherever it needs to go. But Audibly Academy exists for that very reason. It's to bring AI from the darkness to the light, especially for normal people that don't know how to use it. And I'm telling you
Mhm.
right now, figure this out. whether or not you hear from me or somebody else figure this out, because this wave right now, I think we only have a few months. And once it's there, this is going to be like you buying Bitcoin when it was 10 cents in 2010 or whatever it was back then.
Yeah.
That's what this is like. I actually think it's a bigger opportunity than Bitcoin in terms of where it can go, which is why I'm building and launching as fast as I possibly can right now. I am hustling right now, temporarily, till I get on that wave fully, and then I want to ride that, into the future. Now, here's the cool thing: if you dive into AI, and nobody loses a job, or the jobs are maybe just shifted around a little bit, great, you're in such a better place. But let's say worst case scenario, 50% of the people lose their jobs. You're still in a much better place. So either
Yeah.
way, you're going to win. There is no downside for diving full on in an AI. But like, imagine this, Adam. You wake up and you go to your fridge, and inside of your fridge, the chocolate cake is not there. And you're like, what the heck? And your fridge says to you, Adam, the scale told me, you told it that you wanted to lose 20 pounds. So I didn't order the chocolate cake. I mean, you told the scale you wanted to lose 20 pounds, and the scale said to me, okay, don't buy this. And all of a sudden, there's all these healthy stuff in your fridge. So I bought stuff that will help you be healthy so you can lose this 20 pounds. And until you tell us otherwise, I'm not buying any more chocolate cake. And you're like, well, crap, that sucks. Imagine your refrigerator talking to your scale, and your refrigerator talking to Instacart, and Instacart brings the food, and all you do is load it in there. And then it takes pictures of everything that's inside of there, it knows exactly
Yeah.
what it is. And then it's also like, okay, Adam, here's your meal plan for today. And here it's on the second shelf. Grab this ingredient, grab that ingredient, and cook it all. And it's talking to the washer and the dryer, and then if you have any dry cleaning, the washer's going to call the dry cleaner for you and say, okay, I have these 3 articles that we need for dry cleaning. I'm going to drop them off today at 1 p.m. or whatever. You see where or the robot's going to go take it there. Like,
Yeah.
imagine that, and all of a sudden now your robot is your business partner, your robot is your housekeeper, it's your babysitter sometimes, perhaps, like, you name it. That's what's happening. And if it's true, what Musk particularly said, that there'd be about 6 times more robots than humans, it's going to get crazy. I don't know how I feel about all this, to be honest with you, especially the robot side of it. It's really weird. And like my wife said, you're never having a
That's
robot.
gonna be interesting. I think we will still be able to experience this.
But
Interesting. Yeah.
how cool will it be when, for me, AI hasn't saved me any time yet, because I'm not allowing it to, because my outputs are 10 times more though. So
Hmm.
I'm taking what I could, I could sit back and watch TV if I wanted to or whatever, but no, I'm using the time I'm saving with AI to create greater outputs, if that makes sense.
Ooh, yeah, smart. Yeah, totally. Love it. This is really cool. Well, when it comes to, because you said you have kids, right? When it comes to, are they still small, or like, how old are they, if I may ask?
Youngest is 8, oldest in their 20s.
Okay. So, still in school, how you see the world for them, like to the future? Like, what do you think? How, like, are you preparing them somehow for this type of, like, because school won't prepare them, right? Literally. So, what are your thoughts on that, and how do you, like, with AI and everything, like, are you showing them how it affects the way of how everything is, like, literally going to be pretty much, not everything, but most of it is going to be replaced by AI and so on? Do you have this conversation with them?
So my philosophy is a little bit different. No, I have not have a lot of those conversations. Yes, they
Okay.
know I'm building AI. Yes, I've told them some things and taught them some things. The 8-year-old, he's just going to live in a totally different world where, imagine 2 years from now where
Pretty much,
everything
yeah.
changed, because
Yeah.
everything rapidly, like literally 2 years of evolution that would have maybe
Right.
taken 100 years is going to happen in the next few years. So
Yeah.
our entire world's going to be different in 2 years. Knowing that, it's really hard to teach an 8-year-old that, because he's 8, right? But what I am doing is I'm building companies that will last through this so that they will have a future as well.
Yeah, that
That's
makes
one
sense.
of
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
reasons for doing this as well, because my future's set for the most part. Like, I've got what I have, and I've got the businesses that I've run, and I'm going to continue to do that. But then if they can like, they can come and work for me, and I can have, maybe a future for them through what I'm building. But, in terms of like teaching them how to do AI, no, because I've been so intense on building it myself first, that I haven't even like had the deep conversations. I wish I had.
Yeah, yeah, because it's insane. Like, my girlfriend's brother, they're literally in the school teaching them how to manually create PowerPoint slides. Like it's crazy. It's
Like they should
crazy.
get rid of that course right now because Manus can do it, Gamma can do it, like even Notebook LM can do it. Like there's three tools off the top of my head I could think of that can do PowerPoints. It's funny when I can now load a speech into one of these tools and say create my slides and I upload my brand, and it's like 5 minutes later the whole thing's done.
Exactly.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's crazy, right? The
You know
freaking
what you
differences.
need to know? Like, there's literally one skill you need to know: how to talk, and how to talk
Yeah,
like
exactly.
how to
Yeah,
direct, how
yeah,
to become a vibe coder essentially, or how to direct the process. That's all you
yeah,
need to know, because you don't
yeah,
need to know anything. And unless if electricity goes away and internet goes away, you're not going to need any other skill other than that.
yeah,
Really. I mean,
yeah.
that's really simplistic. There are a
It,
few little things, but that's a major skill you would need, is to be able to communicate, and to be able to communicate the right way to direct a process so that it happens to the end. That's it.
yeah. The communication is gonna last anyway. The communication is gonna be the highest paying skill set that you can
And if you think
ever
about it,
acquire.
it
I think
has been.
it has
Great
been, yeah, that's
communicators
true. Yeah,
usually, it's proportionate to your ability to communicate is proportionate to your wealth if you're in a position to be able to build wealth.
yeah, so true. Well, from here, I would like to wrap this conversation up. I would love to know, like, where is your future heading towards? Like, what are your, like, plan to the future when it comes to, like, business wise, and even like um in a personal life? Like, where are you getting? Like, because I see that you're super passionate about building your businesses, being in the coaching space, like now geeking out on AI. But I believe that there is also some, personal side of you that, like, you might be even love more than the business, and that you enjoying and like resting your stuff, like, your time, and like enjoying yourself and so on. If I'm right.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. The reality is there are things that I want to do in my personal life, but the last several months I've devoted my entire life to building these things,
There are those seasons, and
because
that's
right
gonna be
now is the
always.
season. And then I'll once this, you know how it is. Once you build something and it gets
Yeah,
momentum, it's so much easier to maintain it than it is to start it.
and
So
you
I'm
love
still
it.
in that building
And don't
phase.
tell me you don't love it. You
Oh,
love
I
the
freaking
momentum.
love it. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like
I
I wake
know.
up
I
every day
feel
so
it.
excited. I
Yeah.
have three AI projects today, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. And I just been talking all day long, which is why I was coughing earlier, to my microphone all day long. But priority for me, and then business, and then personal. Business is really continue platinum partners, continue speaking, more TED Talks, bigger stages, more influence, more impact. Hopefully, that's my goal. Like I've been in the process of writing a book called Belief Breaking for 2 years now, and so at some point, Belief Breaking will come out, because it really is the core of everything that will help you on a trajectory to overcome the mindset that's been screwed up for 20 years or whatever. So that world is there. Number two is AI. Building and launching as many AI companies. In fact, I put it out on Facebook and Instagram about, I don't know, a month ago, and said, I need founders, because I don't want to, I want to build them. I don't want to run them. I know it's so much harder to run a business, and I can't run 20 businesses right now. So I put it out there. If you're a founder, or if you want to be a founder and you have a passion for this and you can take what I've built and run with it, I will partner with you. And in fact, I'll even fund it.
Interesting.
I've funded it to now. And then, of course, I got a lot of people who I would never want to be in business with messaging me, like high school friends. And I'm like, they're like, hey, what's your reason for contacting me? Oh, I need money. Okay, click. Not
I
happening. Like that is not the reason. Like I want to hear somebody that says, I want to change the world. I think AI can help me change it. I have a mission in life, and I will run at this thing 100 miles an hour. I'm not that skilled. Great. I can work with that. Right. So I have several companies right now that are just sitting in the wings, fully built, fully ready to go, and I can't deploy them because I don't have the time. So,
wow.
and they're really incredible companies. So I'm just building these shells of companies until I find people. It's almost like being a venture capitalist in a sense, but you built the thing, and you funded the thing already, and now the founder, comes to you and says, I want to run with this thing, and then I obviously would, have a big piece of the pie for building the thing. So that's what I'm doing right now. On the personal side, I haven't really, besides spending time with kids and family, I haven't really done much in terms of things that I love to do. For example,
Ooh.
flying. I've been a pilot for about 20 years. I love to fly. Um,
I know
and
I'm not even
and I
seeing
love
any
to be able
posts.
to keep
Yeah,
flying.
that's
And
true.
it's just one
Yeah.
of those things that's a passion, and I just don't
Yeah.
really have time for it right now. And the thing about flying is, when you're a pilot, if you stop flying, and unless if you're going to invest the time to continue to fly, it's really not safe because your skills go way down. So I just need this period to get over, where I've got these things running and going, and then I'm going to dive all into that, back
Yeah.
into that, I should say. So that's one thing, and the other thing is
Why?
really just spending more
Why
time with
flying? Just so I'm stopping you. Why flying? Why did you like? Why?
I don't know. I was just born to fly. Ever since I was a kid, I had a passion for airplanes. My dad would take me to air shows. I knew every single airplane from World War II, Vietnam to
Interesting.
present to this day. You can look up at the sky, I can tell you exactly what that airplane is. I got my pilot's license when I was, I want to say, I don't know, 25 years old. I keep my pilot's, I'm going to cover this so you don't see like things, but I keep my pilot's license right here, right next to my airplane in my logbook, as a reminder of how much I love it. And I flew a lot in my 20s and 30s. And then I slowed down because of life transitions and things. Um, and it just is, I don't know, just getting into a cockpit, like that's my happy place. It's weird, but I just love taking off in the sky and be able to get into a time machine and just see the world from 20,000 feet. It's just amazing. It's so fun.
It's the freedom, probably, or
Yeah, it's freedom. It's just like, I don't know. It's just something that just have loved since I
yeah.
was a kid. It's just literally
Interesting.
built and ingrained into
Very
me.
cool. I was always I always wanted to try, to fly actually, like, and do like, my like papers basically on flying. But I've never had actually the chance to. I haven't been really thinking about it. Really, like, I'm super deep into business also, like, bro, like crazy, like every day. And the age, I'm 29, so I'm still like, going crazy about business most of the
Yeah.
time. Then I don't have really like family and so on. So we just like, me and my girlfriend. So we are just like, having fun, risking a lot,
Yeah.
because that's the best. Like, now we don't have any of those, like responsibilities and so on. Just us traveling. I love traveling also a lot. I don't know. Do you love travel? Do you like traveling? Do you like to
I used to
travel?
not, because in business, traveling meant, because I was a hustler, traveling meant my business was going to go like this because it relied on
Yeah.
me. Now that my businesses don't rely so much on me anymore, we do travel quite a bit. But we also have
Yeah.
masterminds all over the world sometimes. So we had a mastermind at Turks and Caicos, and so we brought our platinum partners to Turks and Caicos in January. We did go to Europe for Christmas, a few weeks before that, which was fun. And so we
Where have you
typically will
been?
go on. I've been there a few times, but we actually, this time we went to Spain, then we went to Italy, then to
Interesting.
Switzerland, France,
Right?
and then ended back up in Rome. So
To mountains or by the sea? Where?
in which country? In France or?
Like, I mean, like, Spain, France,
So Spain, we were on
like.
the southern side of Malaga,
Uh-huh.
which was the reason why we chose Malaga, Spain, was because it's the warmest place in January in Europe, basically, by a long shot.
Where do you
And
live now? Where are you from, actually? Where do you live?
from Utah, I live in North Carolina now.
Okay.
Yeah. So we wanted the warm
Okay.
weather, so we went
Interesting.
there for the first week, and then we had to experience Christmas in Zermatt, Switzerland, because it's a beautiful.
Yeah.
Switzerland's amazing. So we did that, and then yeah. So we do travel quite a bit, but I also travel a lot to speak. I was gone
Yeah.
3 days last week. I'm getting on a plane in 2 days, and a lot of times we'll take kids with us and do that together. So that's been really nice, is to be able to play where we travel, or where I have a speech, and then of course it's a business write off, and you're getting paid to do it. So it's great.
Got it.
But
Got it.
that's been fun. So we travel quite often, actually.
Very cool. So flying is okay. I didn't know that. I don't think that. Have you ever shared that even? I don't think I haven't
Not
even,
recently,
like,
no.
no, not really. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, thank you so much, brother. That was amazing. I have three rapid fire for you.
Great.
When it comes to one book that you would recommend to somebody to read that change your life the most, what would that be?
Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy.
Okay. Why is that?
It it gives a lot of neuroscience and neuropsychology in it of how
Mhm.
you can affect positive change in your life and create a transformational experience in your own life, and how you can actually step into your future potential, which is one of my core values
Yeah.
now, instead of waiting 20 years or trying to figure it out. It's When I first read it, I was like, whoa, this is incredible. I think I read it 4 or 5 times when I first got it, because it was just so powerful. So that's one I would highly, highly recommend.
Okay. So then the second one is, if you could delete one advice from the internet, what that would be?
One advice from what? I'm sorry.
From internet.
Internet in terms of using the internet, or in
No, no,
terms
no.
of,
Like on the internet.
I
That
see.
is doesn't serve anybody. Like completely BS.
I would say dream bigger, think bigger, go bigger. Because I realized in most of my life how I didn't go big because I was freaking scared to do it.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that nothing great has ever come from small thinking. And I promise you, you are much more powerful than you ever thought possible. People that are less talented than you, maybe less skilled than you, have created incredible things that change their life. Like when I see somebody achieve not the impossible, but their impossible, this is the coolest thing ever. I promise your impossible isn't that far away. It seems impossible, but you've got to dream bigger. You've got to think bigger. You've got to go bigger. You've got to be bigger, and stop making yourself small around other people. Start
Beautiful.
like being who
Beautiful.
you are, and don't be ashamed of being who you are, and stop apologizing when you're around people that aren't at your level in terms of success and other things, because you want to make them feel comfortable around you, so you shrink yourself. Stop shrinking yourself, and like go big, go pro, like do epic things, and go out and change the world. Like you have the power within you. And like I said, less talented people have done it. You can too. That's what I would put.
Love it. Love it. That's beautiful. And the last one is, if this would be your last interview you would ever done, what would be the message that you would love to leave behind you?
Ooh, the last message, man, you are going to the heart, bro. This is this is a little challenging for me. Um, the last message really for me would be, you have far more potential than you ever thought possible. Stop living beneath the potential you have, because you literally have lives to change. In fact, all the stories you tell yourself internally, all this negative self talk, all the limiting beliefs that are hindering you from who you really are at the core of why you're not taking the actions that you're not taking. Like, start living like who you truly are. Stop telling yourself that you're garbage, because you're not. Like, I promise you right now, like, you have so much massive potential. There's so much life ahead of you. There's so many incredible things in the world. And just do yourself a favor and step into the real you, maybe for the first time, and stop really caring about what other people think. Lock on the thing you want, and go after it with everything that you are. And if you fail, that's okay, because I truly believe that winners lose more than losers lose. And at some point, things will come together, and I promise you, you can be successful. But living beneath your potential is not why you were born. You were born for something great. You were born for something more. That's what I would leave as a message.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much, brother. That was
Thank you.
amazing, amazing conversation. I love it. Where people can find you, to connect with you, or do you have already like, for the new book that you are writing, some type of like, wait list or so?
Not yet, but I'll have one shortly. But if you go to ericsorenson.com, you can find me there. Audibly Academy, or Audibly AI is my website, audiblyai.com. And that's a portal to all of our AI tools and things. So it's really fun. So you can find me there as well. And of course,
Awesome. Well, thank
Instagram,
you.
Facebook, search my
Oh,
name. I'm there.
awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, brother. That was awesome, and
Thank you.
we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.